Okay, so how did we get here? We're going to start the story. How many people don't know much about SheEO? A few people. Okay. Well, I'm going to take you on a little journey. This is my least favorite word on the planet, intangibles. 20 years ago, I co-founded an incubator, an accelerator called the Energy Group. And we were spinning out a company a month. Young people in technology coming up with great ideas. It was the sort of dot-com boom. And a group of bankers came to us and said, we love what you're doing. There's something so special about this. They were doing tours through our office all the time, CEOs all across Toronto. And they said, we'd like to take you public and have you as a management team because we're so excited. And I was quite excited about that. All my friends said, don't go public. Bad thing. Don't do that, Vicki. And I was like, I got this. I was in my early 30s. I thought I had everything figured out. And so they came in and we started negotiating for what the ownership was going to be in the breakdown between these two companies. And every single time I brought up anything unique about what we were doing, they'd be like, that's intangible, doesn't fit on the balance sheet. Over and over. And it was such a frustrating, challenging conversation. How do you explain all of these things that don't have words? They're all the soft stuff. And I can think we now see what happens in the universe of our economic models when we don't count intangibles. Environmental cost, whatever, outside the system, externality. So that was the moment of sort of getting underneath this and understanding that we have an economic model that doesn't include a lot of things that it should. And these intangibles really matter. The second thing was, I was asked to be a mentor in a new program that started in Canada about 8 years ago that was going to be a program bringing the best and brightest together to create new businesses that would really strengthen the economy. And in this program, I witnessed over and over a model of leadership which was step over each other to win, winner takes all, go big or go home. Social stuff, we'll do that later. Make your money now, and then you can give it away after. And it was very, very hard. It was also extremely hard on women, because a lot of the women in the program just didn't vibe with this model. And as I witnessed this, got more and more upset about how we were showing there's only one way to lead, right? And there are many ways to lead. So I thought, how would you rethink this? And it's not going to happen on my watch. How many people here are not letting this happen on your watch? Yeah. So I stepped back and I thought, if I spent the rest of my life, instead of starting another 5 businesses, what if there was another way to do this? How could we solve this problem? Getting money into the hands of women on their own terms to create the kind of world we want. Because there's nothing like that out there. There really isn't, right? Painful. So I had a dream, as all these things start. And it was kind of crazy. What if 1 million women crowdfunded $1 billion overnight and they didn't ask for a return, which was the weird part. But it just felt, everything in my body was like so right. And all my friends in New York were like, this is awesome, go for it. 3-minute video, viral, we'll raise $1 billion overnight, no problem. And all of my friends in Canada said, why don't you start with a pilot? It's an inside joke for Canadians. And so we did. And I am deeply grateful for my Canadian roots, deeply grateful for this because this needed to start the way it did. So the model is hundreds of women coming together in each country, contributing $1,100. It goes into a pool. We pick 5 ventures. Everybody goes online and votes, democratic voting process. 0% interest loan, which is now the competition to all of the banks out there. 0%. And paid back over 5 years into the fund and loaned out again. And having 500 women and now 5,000 women on your team to help you grow your business is just unbelievable. It changes your life completely. You're going to hear a lot of those stories today. So we got this off the ground. And it was co-created. It wasn't just like the Vicki show. We went across the country from coast to coast. Is Jill Earthy in the room? Maybe not. Anyway, Jill, these are your notes for who the distribution partners should be before we started. And we did a lot of stuff in Vancouver. Vancouver was really pumped about this when we got started. And Michelle Osry, are you in the house? Michelle from Deloitte hosted an event And this crazy thing happened. This woman came up to me after I talked about this and said, I have been leading women's markets for the bank for 25 years, and you're doing exactly the opposite of what we've done for 25 years. We need to help you. And I'm like, who are you? And she said, BMO. And I'm like, a bank is going to help us do this? And this guardian angel, Julie Barker-Merch, showed up. And I just have to tell you, getting a new idea off the ground is so hard. So hard. It was $1,000 the first year, no $100 on top of it even to cover anything. Julie and I sat down, and she's like, this is awesome. We are going to have a waiting list, right? I'm like, oh yeah, 1,000 women, we're going to have a waiting list, it's so great. And we spent hours talking about how to deal with the waiting list. Like, what if people get mad? How are we going to cope with this? And well, the reality was a little bit different. This is the team that got it off the ground. The one on the left is an intern. We got this out the door. We were so excited when you first signed up. This is my favorite quote from the first year. At 90 years of age, I've lived to see women reach the far limits of outer space, yet they have yet to climb more than a few steps up the corporate ladder. Even more dismal has been the way future entrepreneurs have been unable to find funding in order to turn brilliant ideas into reality in the marketplace. With the advent of SheEO, that has changed. Go, girl. This is a quote from Elaine Slater, who has been an activator every single year. She's now 95. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it today, but her daughter Abby's in the house. So we thought, okay, we're going to get 1 million women. We're going to get 1,000 women in our first year. It's going to be great. Julie and I are like all pumped up. And we had a whole timeline. And so I'm just putting this up to illustrate the challenges of entrepreneurs fitting into the current reality. So August, if you'll note, from August 3rd to 10th, we had a week for activators to sign up. Well, it's going to be sold out the first day, but we'll just put in a week to be, well, okay, fine, we'll do a week. And then we had 21 days for people to apply. On the right-hand side, it's kind of hard to see this. In 2020, we were going to be at 1 million women. Start with 1,000, then go to 10, then go to 100, then, yeah, there we go. We're not quite there yet, but it's coming. The reality was this. November 10th, we started in July. November 10th, 350 women only had signed up. We had 17 days to go, and we changed the deadline twice. It was hard. And then we did it. This is what we put in the Globe and Mail, an ad thanking the 500 founding activators for getting us there. Thank you. So very big thank you to those 500 Canadian women that stepped into a completely crazy idea that had imagine in the front of every sentence. Imagine if we did this. That would be great. And imagine, I've stopped saying imagine, thank God, but I said it a lot back then. And then you started to give us lots of feedback. I can't believe we didn't pick this other person. Can we help her too? Which then led to us now giving feedback to every single person who applies to SheEO gets feedback on their application to how we can help one another. And now activators are all supporting each other in this network. And then all the other countries started to come. This is the US. So we had people from LA, Colorado, and San Francisco. Julie's here, Delilah's here. And then we thought, okay, we're going to the US. They're like, we're doing 500 in each city. I don't know what's wrong with you Canadians. Like, that's really slow. Going across the country, just getting 500, and then they just got to 500 across 3 cities. So we knew there's something going on here. How do we unlock this? And the US was fantastic, great. We did our launch on a yacht in LA. It's like super off-brand for SheEO, on-brand. And then we came into year 2 in Canada, and activators said, we have to do this again? I did it last year. And I just want to pause on this because we're in this we need everyone, all hands on deck, until we get there. Things don't change quickly, right? Change doesn't happen fast. Oh, we funded 5 entrepreneurs. Is it done now? We're still at 3%. Feels like it's getting worse every year. This is an ongoing struggle that we need to keep working on. I had a tough year. I put this up here because I think this picture on the left illustrates more than anything else how unbelievable the SheEO team is. I was having a bad time because my mom had gotten sick, and they showed up at my door on Halloween dressed up like me. And the very dark picture is literally the only picture of my husband and I at a SheEO event that I could find. Richard, I love you so much, and I would not be here without you. Okay, so then the next thing, Michelle Savoy, where are you? Right there. How's this going to scale, Saunders? You're in everyone's living room. How's it going to scale? You don't scale. How's it going to happen? And an incredible woman from New Zealand showed up, Teresa Gatung. She is so wonderful. She's not with us today, unfortunately. And Teresa is a brand, everybody knows her in New Zealand. I didn't know this when I got on a plane to go there. She pulled me into a room with hundreds of women, and after I spoke, she said, how many people want to activate? And half the hands went up, and I went, oh my God, and I called the team, and I'm like, I think we just launched in New Zealand. And one of the things that I learned in New Zealand, which was extremely moving for me and has put me on this path with Indigenous people since, is that elders asked me to stand outside the room until I was welcomed in. And they had translated, I cry a lot just for those who don't know me, it's okay, it's okay. Elders had translated radical generosity into Maori. And they said, we are so grateful you're here, because you are bringing back the collective economy, which was outlawed, the potlatch. We outlawed that as uncivilized. When people got too much that they accumulated, they would give it all away, and we thought that was weird. But this model of money flowing perpetually that SheEO has is very deeply connected into Indigenous culture. And then I met Tira and amazing other Indigenous women in Canada, and we've begun this very deep dialogue of how we're going to support each other and how we're going to learn for each other to create these new economic models. And then year 3 was really hard. I really do want to tell this story, and I know I'm running out of time. I'll start speaking more quickly. It's very hard. It's very hard to get a new idea off the ground. My mother was literally the person who taught me radical generosity my whole life, and she passed away in the second year of this. And it was super, super tough. So getting everything going, building this up, she passed. And then our sponsor, who had covered all of our admin for the first 2 years, had internal changes in their organization. We lost that sponsorship, and I borrowed money from everyone I could find to keep this thing alive. And year 3 is always hard when you're getting something going. And I want to thank B, who basically moved into my house and hugged me every single day to keep me going, and all of you who were very, very supportive to keep this model alive. There have been lots of moments where I'm not sure it was going to happen. Okay, this is my living room. Holding the energy is a thing that Vanessa talked to me about. Vanessa Reed, somewhere in this room. She's like, oh, you're holding the energy for a lot. And I didn't really get that until this moment here. This is my living room. I did a check-in. We were having a super activator gathering to talk about how we were going to build the campaign. And we had a Maori elder who was visiting at my house, who's standing up right here. So Michelle and Beth were sitting over on the left and saying, let's get to the agenda. We had stuff to do. And the Maori elder got up and talked for 20 minutes. It was supposed to be like a 2-minute check-in. And because she did, then everyone after her told their life story. And I just kept sitting there on the couch going, do I intervene or not? Do I stop people from sharing what matters to them and why they're here to get to the agenda? Or do I let it go? And I learned in this day, we are building this community at the speed of trust. And trust happens at the speed of relationships. So all of this together is very important. And I can hear them saying, yes, and. You have to do both. Then Julie Terrell moved from San Francisco to Australia and emailed me pretty much every day for about a year. Come to Australia, you have to come. And then she found a way to get us there and meet the mayor and go on this amazing tour, which then got us into Australia. And then Suzanne brought us to the UK. Suzanne Beagle, wherever you are. Thank you. Woo! Okay, so we are now at 5,000 activators, as Jesse said, in 5 countries. 70 countries in the pipeline waiting for this all over the world. It's a thing that you've created, ladies. Amazing. 63 ventures will be funded as of today. And I'm very happy to announce that we now have a perpetual fund in Canada. Yeah. So this is the first country in the world to reach a perpetual fund, which means if none of you ever showed up again, we would continue to fund female entrepreneurs in Canada forever, but you're all going to show up again, right? I'm going to come back. Yes, thank you for saying yes. I want to just come back to this because I want to also say, at this very moment in time that we're in the world, I don't understand why any money is going to anything that's creating more inequality, that's not working on the world's to-do list. We have demonstrated over and over, we have thousands of ventures who have applied to SheEO, who are revenue generating, export potential, opportunity to scale, who are working on critical issues of our time. Let's get our money going in that direction. And having activators in relationship with ventures, people with influence, connected to the people with ideas, will transform our systems, 100%. I'm going to end with my favorite quote. About a year ago, I met with a guy that I know that I hadn't seen for about 6 years, and he's like, hey, congrats on SheEO, looks like it's doing well. I said, thank you. And he said, but whoa, your space is so crowded. And I'm like, my space? And he said, yeah, women. And then he said, I wonder who's going to win. And I was just so thrown by it. And then I went home and I rage journaled. And I wrote this, which is, we are not here to win. We are here to transform. That's the point.